first of all, exec meeting at lunch, 11:35. Also, talent show is this Thursday. It's at 7 o'clock. We have no school the next day, so please come. It'll be a lot of fun. And acts that signed up for the talent show, please check in with me and confirm that you are actually performing and that it wasn't a joke or something. So I will be looking for you too, and just making sure that you, the materials that you need will be provided, whether it's mics, etc. Also, this week we're gonna have a mini spirit week. So tomorrow is mismatch day, and then Wednesday is dress like a teacher day. And then Thursday is, what's Thursday? Oh gosh. Senior day, thank you, there we go. It's senior day, which should be called, more I don't know, times of your lives day. And it's 8th graders are babies, freshmen are toddlers, sophomores are awkward middle school / teenage, I don't know what's going on with their life phase. Juniors are midlife crisis, seniors are senior citizens, and faculty and staff are zombies. So those are the days, so please dress. What? Okay, anyway, so please dress up. This is the last spirit week of my exec council, so we're trying to go the thing. We'll also be finally having the kickball competition this week on Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday, because there's a softball game today, so moving it. But so tomorrow is juniors versus freshmen and 8th graders. So freshmen, please participate, or else the juniors will win by default. Wednesday is seniors versus sophomores, and then Thursday is winners. So there you go. Hey.
Good morning. Course selections are due by the end of the month. When you submit those online, please print your selections, and you can turn that in at the front office, or you can hand them in person to me or Ms. Maston. Remember that Ms. Maston and I are also available for course planning meetings if you'd like to sit down and talk through next year or the coming years. And then on another note, I just want to say it was a real pleasure to be with all the students Saturday night and at prom. You all looked very elegant. You were very well behaved. There was a nice anecdotal comment from the general manager who said that it's always a relief to know that York School is coming into the site because we never have to worry about the students. So congratulations for earning that reputation.
I need to ask everybody to help me with an issue. It's kind of a mystery. I've got a 3D art class, and a student, who probably doesn't want me to mention her name, but Tiana she's lost some really, really vital things to her art project. They've taken her a long time to do. There are no accusations. I just have all these eyes here. I'm hoping you guys can help us. They're earth tone pieces painted on masonite. They probably fell off the shelf in my art space, my art room, onto the floor. Maybe ended up in the garbage somehow, but if somebody knows anything about those, come talk to me. It would be a wonderful help, because I don't want her to give up on this project after literally hours and hours and hours of work. So let me know if you know anything. Thanks.
It was the summer of 2006, and I, 8-year-old Blythe Monan, was looking down at a 15-foot plunge into the Nantucket Sound. And you might say, okay, Blythe, what were you doing up there? So here's a little backstory. Ever since I was little, especially when my family and I lived in Connecticut, we would vacation every summer to Cape Cod, Massachusetts. On one of these occasions, when I was 5, I decided to watch Jaws by myself. And this was a very bad decision due to the fact that ever since then, I am completely convinced that the second I touch salt water, Jaws will resurrect and come for me. My parents and my sister were well aware of this fact and loved to taunt me for it, and still do to this day. Back to the story. My parents thought it'd be fun to take my sister, my friends, and I on a day excursion to Martha's Vineyard to see a special location. After we got off the ferry and drove for a little bit, we reached this bridge, and when I asked my mom what we were doing here, she replied nonchalantly, "Remember that scene in Jaws when the guy in the rowboat tried to help the kids in the sailboat, but instead Jaws came out of the water, ate him, and then swam underneath the bridge back into the ocean? Well, this is the bridge from the scene, and we thought it'd be fun for you guys to maybe see it and jump off of it." So like the little lemmings they are, my sister and my friends started to jump off the bridge. And when it was my turn, I stood up there and said to myself, "You know what? This does look kind of fun. But you know what's more fun? Not dying." I concluded I was not going to jump off the bridge. With that, I felt a little shove at my back and realized I was falling into the ocean. When I hit the water and looked up, When I hit the water and looked up and saw the bridge I was just standing on, I realized what I had to do. I swam for my life, all the way to shore. And after I caught my breath, I kind of said, you know, even though that was really scary, it was kind of fun free falling. And I walked away with 2 important lessons that day. One, maybe not every time I touch the water, Jaws will come for me, but he will. And 2, you never know what experiences life is going to give you, so really all you gotta do is plug your nose and take the plunge, because that's the only way to live life.
That you never want to forget. And then there are some that you definitely do. A few years ago, my family and I were on our way to Santa Cruz where my dad was playing a gig. I decided to take a nap on the drive there. When I woke up, our car was slowly pulling up to a small table where my dad was signing in and answering some questions. The first thing I saw was a little boy running around naked. He was about 5, so I didn't think much of it, until he ran up to his father, who was also naked. I screamed and yelled, "Where the heck are we?" at my parents, while my brother asked casually, "Is that guy naked?" A few more people passed by, only wearing hats and shoes. Didn't take me long to realize that we were at a nudist colony. Of course, my dad's band had no idea that they volunteered to play at a nude fest. But we had to stay there until they were done playing, which totaled to a solid 10 hours surrounded by enthusiastic nudists. Thank God my friend couldn't come. Then I'd have to go back home and explain to her parents why she was scarred for life. We found a parking spot and decided to go eat at a little restaurant. I was glad to see that the old man behind the counter was dressed. Or so I thought. We ordered and then sat down at a table. 10 minutes later, our food was ready. The old guy came from behind the counter, rolling his little oxygen tank behind him in one hand and carrying a plate in the other. I was so hungry and focused on the food, it took me a second to see that he was actually wearing a thong. I lost my appetite very quickly. After they finished eating, my mom and my brother, after we finished eating, we went to go watch another band playing while my dad set up his equipment. My brother and I decided that after listening to a few songs and a lady in the audience yelling at the band members, "Take it off," repeatedly, we didn't want to know what happened next after the bassist took off his pants. So we went up the hill to find a tetherball pole that my dad had mentioned to us earlier. We stayed there for 3 hours, trying to avoid all people. Soon we heard some people talking, and I could see shoes behind trees. For a moment, I thought that they were wearing clothes, but I was wrong. I couldn't help thinking about poison oak and ticks. We ran as fast as we could back down the hill, trying to avoid the noise. My dad's band started playing, and as it got later, people started to leave and it got colder. My brother and I were also cold, but I was surprised to see how he suddenly went from wanting to leave this place as soon as possible to begging my mom to let him get in the hot tub, because it's not that bad. During this time, I learned to be more open about things, but not too open. From this experience, I learned that life is full of unexpected people and places. When it comes to surprises, I know that I will always be ready.
School isn't easy for anyone. Between the keeping up with your assignments, studying for tests, and paying attention in class, it's a lot to manage. But I can usually handle the day-to-day workload pretty easily. The things that kill me are those long-term projects. You know, when the teacher gives you a month-long assignment and says, "Don't do it all on the last night," you look at your friend and give them an understanding nod. For the first half of the time you're given, you don't even think about it. I mean, you've got a whole month. When the due date starts getting closer, you start worrying about it a little. Maybe you think, "I should probably write an outline." Never happens, of course. Within a few days of the assignment, things start to get a little worrisome. Now, this is the point where most people will probably get something done, do some research for their paper, write a couple paragraphs, but not me. Why would I do that when I can just sit there thinking about how hard it's going to be? Why would I look up my topic when I can just surf the internet instead? Now, this kind of stalling doesn't actually help. It just makes me feel even more guilty. It doesn't distract me from having to think about it. Now, the usual advice for this kind of stalling is just do it. If you do it, it's done. You don't have to worry about it. But it's really hard for me to do that when the choice is between studying for a test or just talking with my friends and messing around. And of course, the day before the assignment or test happens, I actually have to do it. And although there's lots of panicking and swearing at my past self for not finishing the assignment, it always gets done, and it usually isn't that bad. So now, instead of panicking and worrying for 3 weeks, I just try to, I pretty much accept my stalling. I don't try to spread it out over the whole time or make a plan. I just accept that I'm going to do it on the last day. I'm not going to act like I'm going to have some big, beautiful outline for everything. I'm just going to panic and do it on the last day. That's fine. My grades haven't really suffered from doing this. But it's much better to just do all of my homework on one night than worry for 3 weeks about it. Now, this is probably a short-term solution for a much bigger long-term problem, but I'm probably not going to worry about that until the last night.
Thanks to the 11 of you who signed up for the chess tournament. We're going to have a meeting outside of Ms. Traxel's room so we can decide when to actually have the games, so the winner can have their name on the plaque. Also, Big Sur Marathon permission slips are due today, so if you want to go, please turn them in to either me, Riley, or Miss Sanford. And to the majority of you who don't want to go, it's still due today. Don't sign up for it.
Less than 5 seconds, like really fast.
Okay, there will be a Friends Art Society meeting tomorrow in room 10. During tutorial, we'll discuss the new initiates and a fundraising opportunity in Haiti, and there will be free food.
Softball has a game today against Marina at 4 o'clock.
You should come support us on the lower field softball field.